I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston, I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me.
Before Mike Tyson was a household name, he was just a troubled kid from Brownsville, Brooklyn, an environment defined by poverty, violence, and chaos.
I don't know, my childhood. I don't know, it was pretty dark.
But everything changed when he came under the mentorship of legendary boxing trainer Cus D'Amato.
Because when he's independent of me, I have succeeded. He has succeeded when he becomes champion. I have succeeded when I made him independent of me. He doesn't need me anymore.
D'Amato didn't just teach Tyson how to throw punches, he gave him discipline, structure, and most importantly, purpose. By the age of 18, Tyson had turned pro, and with every brutal knockout, the legend began to grow. The boxing world had never seen anything like him. Compact, explosive, and terrifyingly focused. In just 2 years, Tyson went from a no-name teenager to the most feared fighter on earth. By November 1986, at just 20 years old, Tyson made history by becoming the youngest heavyweight champion ever.
And new WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Mike Tyson.
Defeating Trevor Berbick in a 2-round demolition. The victory wasn't just a title, it was a launchpad to global superstardom. With each win, his earnings skyrocketed. Promoters lined up with million-dollar deals, media outlets couldn't get enough, and fans treated him like a living god. Within months, Tyson was earning more than most fighters made in a lifetime. But while his fists built an empire, no one knew that the fortune he was creating would eventually slip right through his hands. With the heavyweight crown securely on his head, Mike Tyson transformed into a global money machine. Major pay-per-view bouts brought in astronomical numbers, and Tyson's cut was massive, sometimes pulling $20 to $30 million for a single night's work. His 1988 fight against Michael Spinks, lasting just 91 seconds, earned him $22 million. That's nearly $250,000 per second. But the fight game was just the beginning. Endorsements poured in. Tyson became the face of Pepsi, Kodak, and most famously, Nintendo's Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!, which alone netted him millions. At his peak, he was earning more than $50 million a year and had reportedly made over $160 million before turning 25. Tyson's lifestyle exploded to match his earnings. He purchased multiple mansions across the country, each outfitted with marble floors, gold-plated fixtures, and garages filled with Rolls-Royces, Bentleys, and Ferraris. He bought custom-made jewelry by the truckload, chains, watches, and rings iced out with diamonds. He didn't just own clothes, he owned entire racks of designer suits tailored for one-time use. He traveled with private jets and entourages dozens deep, often footing the bill for everyone's food, clothes, and rooms. The money was flowing so fast, so effortlessly, that it felt like it would never run out. But it would, and sooner than anyone expected. In 1988, Mike Tyson shocked the public with a whirlwind romance and marriage to actress Robin Givens. On the surface, it looked like a power couple made for Hollywood, the baddest man on the planet and the rising TV star. But behind the cameras, their relationship quickly spiraled into chaos. Just months after their wedding, Givens appeared alongside Tyson on the Barbara Walters special, calling their marriage torture, pure hell. Tyson sat silently, his eyes wide as his wife publicly accused him of domestic violence and mental instability on national television. The media had a field day, and the cracks in Tyson's personal life became headline news. As the tension escalated, the divorce became inevitable and devastatingly expensive. Tyson would later claim that Givens was manipulating him and draining his fortune, pointing to the lavish gifts he gave her, including a mansion worth several $million. The divorce settlement reportedly cost him upwards of $10 million, but the financial damage went beyond just dollars. His public image began to fracture, and his judgment came into question. It was clear Tyson was losing control, not just of his money, but of his life. And while he was still undefeated in the ring, the real battle was happening outside of it. In 1991, Mike Tyson's world came crashing down when he was accused of raping 18-year-old Desiree Washington, a Miss Black America contestant. The case moved swiftly and brutally through the justice system. Despite Tyson's claims of innocence, a jury found him guilty in 1992. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison, serving 3. In an instant, the man once hailed as the baddest man on the planet became a convicted felon. His boxing career was frozen, his income gone, and his reputation, already bruised by scandal, was now shattered beyond repair. Sponsors fled, public opinion turned, and the Tyson empire began to rot from the inside. Even from behind bars, Tyson still had to pay lawyers, taxes, managers, and mounting personal debts. Legal bills reached into the millions. Properties went untended. Cars, staff, tigers, all still costing him daily while no money was coming in. He reportedly lost close to $50 million during his time in prison alone. And worse, he left incarceration with a mountain of obligations and a shattered brand. Tyson wasn't just a man trying to rebuild a career, he was a man trying to survive the aftermath of complete public and financial collapse. The fall from glory was complete, and the climb back would be far from easy. When Mike Tyson was released from prison in 1995, he was a different man, but still a box office magnet. Fans were eager to see if the former champ still had his killer instinct. Promoters wasted no time, and Tyson's comeback fights raked in millions. He reclaimed the WBA title by demolishing Bruce Seldon, earning over $30 million for that one fight alone. But his biggest payday, and biggest disaster, came in 1996 and 1997 when he faced Evander Holyfield in back-to-back blockbusters. The first fight saw Tyson outboxed and beaten, a stunning upset. The rematch, however, would become one of the most infamous moments in sports history. In round 3 of the 1997 rematch, Tyson snapped. In a moment of pure rage, he bit a chunk out of Holyfield's ear, not once, but twice. The fight was stopped, Tyson was disqualified, and the boxing world was in disbelief. The incident cost him $3 million in fines and resulted in a temporary ban from boxing. More damaging, though, was what it did to his brand. Sponsors distanced themselves. Hollywood, which had flirted with Tyson during his comeback, pulled away. The opportunity to rebuild his empire was suddenly gone. One bite cost him not just millions, but his second chance at redemption. Even at the height of his fame, Mike Tyson's spending habits weren't just lavish, they were reckless beyond belief. He wasn't buying luxury, he was devouring it. One of his most notorious purchases? A $2 million solid gold bathtub for his then-wife, Robin Givens. That single item cost more than most people's homes. But it didn't stop there. Tyson owned over 100 luxury cars, many of which he forgot he even had. He once famously bought a Bentley, left it at a hotel, and never came back for it. He gifted cars and jewelry to random strangers and would often throw parties that ran up bills in the hundreds of thousands. He also had a fascination with exotic animals. Tyson purchased and raised Bengal tigers, spending over $70,000 per cat and an additional $125,000 annually just to care for them. He had custom cages built on his property and even hired an animal trainer full-time. His clothing budget was equally outrageous. He once admitted to wearing designer suits only once before tossing them. His entourage, sometimes up to 50 people deep, flew with him, ate with him, and lived off his wealth. At one point, he was reportedly spending $400,000 a month just to maintain his lifestyle. The problem wasn't that Tyson didn't earn enough, it was that he never learned how to make it last. While Mike Tyson was throwing punches in the ring, some of the most brutal hits to his wallet were coming from the people in his own corner, especially his infamous promoter, Don King. At first, King seemed like the mastermind who would take Tyson to the top, securing million-dollar deals and keeping him in the spotlight. But behind the scenes, King was allegedly siphoning off massive amounts of money. Tyson would later accuse King of stealing tens of millions through shady contracts, fake fees, and backdoor payments. In 1998, Tyson sued King for $100 million, claiming he was systematically robbed. The case eventually settled for $14 million, far less than what Tyson believed was taken. Tyson also surrounded himself with yes men, freeloaders, and manipulators, who fed off his success. His entourage acted like a traveling circus, with Tyson footing the bill for every meal, every flight, and every indulgence. Few people told him no, and even fewer actually helped manage his finances. Every time Tyson made a fortune, it disappeared into the hands of others: managers, promoters, lawyers, and opportunists. He once said, "I was like a young kid with millions of dollars and nobody to tell me how to use it." Don King may have been the face of the betrayal, but he was far from the only one bleeding Tyson dry. By 2003, the empire Mike Tyson had built and blown was in ruins. The money was gone, the entourage had vanished, and the headlines now screamed about financial collapse instead of knockouts. That year, Tyson filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, revealing debts that shocked the world. He owed over $23 million, including $13 million to the IRS, $4 million in unpaid legal fees, and hundreds of thousands in unpaid child support. His properties were foreclosed, his prized possessions auctioned off. The man who once made $30 million in one night now had to ask the court for permission just to spend a few $1,000s a month. The bankruptcy filings read like a cautionary tale of excess and neglect. Tyson had squandered nearly $300 million in career earnings and was now being hounded by creditors. His lavish lifestyle had become a prison of its own, one built on debt, regret, and betrayal. But even in the depths of this financial abyss, Tyson still had one thing left: his name. And although the public had largely written him off, Tyson wasn't finished yet. What came next was perhaps the most unexpected chapter of all. Not a comeback in the ring, but a redemption in life. After years of financial ruin, personal loss, and public ridicule, Mike Tyson began a transformation no one saw coming. He stepped away from boxing and leaned into something far more powerful: his story. In 2009, Tyson appeared in the hit comedy The Hangover, playing a hilarious version of himself that reintroduced him to a new generation. The cameo was a hit, and more importantly, it reminded Hollywood and fans alike that Tyson still had value. He launched a one-man Broadway show called Mike Tyson: Undisputed Truth, where he told his life story raw and unfiltered. It was honest, emotional, and for the first time, audiences saw Tyson not as a monster, but as a man. But the biggest shift wasn't in entertainment, it was in business. In 2016, Tyson co-founded Tyson Ranch, a legal cannabis company that quickly gained traction in the booming marijuana industry. With Tyson's name, authenticity, and massive fan base, the brand exploded. Reports claim he was earning up to $500,000 a month at its peak. He also found peace in podcasting, launching Hotboxing with Mike Tyson, where he interviews celebrities, athletes, and thinkers, often while smoking. Today, Tyson's no longer chasing belts. He's building an empire on his own terms. After losing everything, he's now worth tens of millions again. And this time, it's not slipping away. Mike Tyson's life is more than just a rise and fall. It's a full-circle odyssey through the highest highs and the lowest lows. He didn't just lose money, he lost trust, freedom, identity, and for a time, his will to keep going. But through brutal self-reflection and raw vulnerability, Tyson clawed his way back from the abyss. His story isn't just about boxing or money, it's about how unchecked fame, toxic influence, and emotional pain can destroy even the strongest among us. And yet, despite the damage, Tyson didn't give up. He evolved. He found peace in places he never expected: humor, honesty, and healing. Today, Mike Tyson isn't the same man who once ruled the ring with a snarl and a knockout punch. He's a father, an entrepreneur, and a storyteller. Someone who has embraced his flaws and turned them into fuel for something bigger. His fortune may have vanished, but his legacy is richer than ever. In the end, Tyson's greatest victory wasn't against another fighter. It was against the self-destructive forces that nearly ended him. And for millions watching, that's the fight that made him truly legendary.